Hey, it's Becky from Patchwork Posse, and let's make little mittens for babies' hands. So, you know how the newborns have super sharp fingernails and they always tend to scratch their face. We are going to make some today that actually sew up pretty quick. You do not need a template for this. You should be able to make it without one. I'll show you how to do that. This is what the little mitten looks like. It really is super simple to sew. What you're going to do is cut your fabric first. And you know, I am all for upcycling, and so this ribbing I found at the thrift store, and it was a tank top. So I simply took this and cut it up. I made sure I knew where the stretch was on this, and it actually has turned out perfectly for this project. I also have some fabric that is double gauze, and I looked around and a lot of people really liked the double gauze for baby mittens, just because it's thinner, it's lightweight, their fingers won't sweat. But you could use a minky or a flannel or just regular cotton. It just doesn't breathe as well as something like the double gauze. I am using only one single layer of the double gauze, so if you wanted to layer it more, you could, but I don't think it's needed. So the first thing we're going to do is cut your pieces to size. I've got two pieces cut right sides together. This is for the hand area. And then I do have my square or my rectangle cut with the stretchy going the long direction, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we don't want a seam to show when we finish this. There's going to be a seam right here, and that's fine, but on the ribbing part we do want that seam hidden. You're going to fold right sides together, and you are going to take this over to the machine, and you are going to stitch along that long edge. Once that is stitched, you are just going to open this up. You're going to open this up or fold back to reveal the right side. So we're just going to put our fingers in here and line up our seam and make sure that the edges of the ribbing piece are together. So you don't want to see this, because then when you sew this you will have a hole, and so you really want to pull this up and equal those out so they are lined up. The edge is lined up really well. So with this piece done, we can work on our other hand piece. And so with this, I'm going to simply fold both pieces in half, and I am going to curve the top edge. So I'm going to take my scissors, and we are just going to come down probably 1.5 inches in, and we are just going to cut a slight curve to the top. So I folded it in half so both sides are going to be equal. When you open it up, it's just going to have a slight curve at the top, and that is exactly what we want. You're going to take this to the sewing machine and you are going to stitch all the way along that curved edge. You're going to leave this open. With this stitched all the way along the edge and our ribbing cuff ready to go, we're going to open this up, and we are going to place the ribbing right inside, and you're going to make sure that your edges stay together, and you're going to line up the side seams and pin this. Once you have that pinned, you're going to find the side of the ribbing, and you are going to push that against the side seam of the hand area, and you are going to pin those two sides together. Now the next step is you're going to notice it's not the same size, so you're going to have to stretch the ribbing out just a little bit,
pull the hand thing up so it's equal to the top edge of the ribbing and put a pin here. And you are going to repeat that for the other side. So you're going to stretch it a little bit, pull the hand piece up so it matches the sides of the ribbing, and put a pin here. Now when I take this to the sewing machine, I start kind of right here because this is a lot of bulk where the seams are, and to get started it's not the best place. So I just start right here, and then you're just going to stitch all the way around that top edge. All right, with that sewn, you do want to snip any of your threads. So you don't want long threads in here for their little fingers to catch on. If you have a serger, you could do an overlock stitch on this as well, or even a zigzag if you wanted to. So with all of our pieces caught into the seam, we are just going to turn this right sides out and pull the little ribbing down. And that is it. You are done. This is a super quick project. It is not hard to do at all. The seam for the ribbing is hidden, so it looks nice and finished along the edges. And these can easily be slipped on to the baby's hand and arm area just to keep their little fingernails out of scratching up their faces. So makes a cute pair, and it would be perfect really as a gift. Now if these are not tight enough, you can make adjustments to the pattern to make them a little bit less wide, so they hold tighter on. So if they are slipping off and they're not staying, then you can make some adjustments to the pattern if you want. You really just want to be careful that you don't make them too tight.